Give me the lumber.
I think you want to hit the two-iron, boss.
Said I want the big dog.
I know I hit it into the water.
Well, why do they even have water if you're not supposed to hit it there?
Because it's fun! We're having fun!
Yeah. I've been golfing all my life. I eat golf. I sleep golf. My wife get mad at me. All I do is golf.
We're waiting.
Welcome back to the Back Tee Boys podcast. It is officially U.S. Open week. I am joined by John and Thomas. Fellas, how are we doing?
Glad that it's Open week.
Yeah, I couldn't be more excited about it for the worst tournament of the year.
That's insane.
No, I just want to get you going.
We'll get into that
I just
later.
want to get him going early.
Wow. You prefer
it
Rocket
is-
Mortgage?
It is the second major of the year, especially after this year's PGA did not count. With Xander's fraud win at Valhalla. As you can see, we're fired up here, folks.
You're the only one fired up.
You came in talking about how it's the worst tournament of the year, so don't just put that on me.
I'm not gonna. That was a complete and total lie, but we'll just let it slide.
As always, check out the Back Tee Boys on social media, on Instagram and X, formerly Twitter. John just found out that we tweet moments before the show started. So.
I haven't been on there in a while, and it's a little bit too old for me, you know.
Some very good content on
Big
there.
Threads guy over here.
Big Threads guy.
As all of golf Twitter's there. Some great Back Tee Boys content. So go check that out. Also, wherever you get this podcast, whether it's YouTube, Apple, Spotify, rate the episode, comment. It really helps us with the algorithms and everything. And send in your questions, whether it's on Instagram, whether it's on Twitter, wherever it is. Send in some questions. We're going to get into some listener questions later in this episode, so we'd love to hear from you and love to get some content on that. And as always, this podcast is brought to you by Pinned Golf. Pinned Golf makes awesome rangefinders at a very reasonable price. They just came out with the Prism Plus. If you're watching on YouTube, there's one sitting there, which is the Memorial Day edition, which I am psyched to have in the bag. And they're awesome. They really great display, picks up the flag quick, does the slope, does everything. Just awesome rangefinders. The boys have had them in the bag now for coming up on a month, and I don't know. I think I've loved it.
Oh yeah, it's still got that new rangefinder smell.
It does.
Yeah, I love how quickly it picks it up. That's like wildly fast. Although I've never really used one, but I remember being annoyed by that.
Yeah, it's really quick. Especially, I mean, I had the Prism in the bag and I liked it, but the Prism Plus picks it up so much faster. The display's better, clearer, just awesome. Bunch of cool colorways. They also make the speakers. The Dart 2.0 is awesome.
I just got mine in the other week, and it's already been a game changer on the course. Especially since I've been walking a little bit more. You just clip it onto your bag.
Yeah.
You just walk with it. It's pretty great.
Perfect golf speaker. It has the magnet on there if you ride. Has the clip if you don't. Pretty good volume. It's a great speaker. So go check it out. Use code BACKTBoysPod at checkout on anything from Pinned Golf and get a discount. I think it's $25 on the Pinned Prism Plus. And I think it's 15% off anything else on the website. So go check that out. Boys, before we get into U.S. Open, we got to talk a little Memorial. Scotty Scheffler again
God.
wins. And I want to put out something, boys. We had two correct bets last week on this podcast.
What do we have? Wait.
I had Scotty Scheffler winning. And I had,
Oh, whoa. Okay, so we had one correct bet on this podcast.
Yes, I was not allowed to bet that.
and I had Oberg as the top European, which he tied.
That was good.
He tied Matthew Fitzpatrick, which it paid. So.
Third bet because I had Oberg top 5, even
Oh,
though
perfect.
it's
We
tied.
had 3 bets. Whoa, boys.
Yeah.
Everyone but Thomas getting in on the action here.
I mean, Keegan gave it a scare there.
He did
for a minute.
actually,
He
you
was
know,
up
I was
there.
impressed,
Yeah,
yeah.
and Morikawa was on Scheffler's heels the whole Sunday.
I kept scrolling through the leaderboard looking for my Irishman, Shane Lowry, whom I picked, and just kept getting Seamus Power with the Ireland flag there, and I was just kind of annoyed. So
Yeah, I mean, the Memorial definitely didn't disappoint. It was a great golf tournament. And I thought starting Sunday, Scotty was really going to run away with it, but it was a tournament.
He tried to throw it away.
He tried hard.
He tried. I think I saw it was like his worst final round in a whatever tournament. 2 over, I think he ended, right?
I think something around. I don't have.
And there were only a couple guys on Sunday. I think it might have only been Morikawa even, who was under par of those last 6 groups or something like that.
Oh, and Tim loves that. Tim really
Yeah.
loves when people aren't
really
under
tough.
par.
Oh, we'll get into it later. I love Carnage.
Oh,
Nothing
best.
quite like Carnage. I loved Sunday at the Memorial. It was great. It led into the U.S. Open perfectly, but the one thing that I've seen all over Twitter about with Scotty winning that going into the U.S. Open this week is the comparisons to Tiger, and I agree. I don't think we've seen anything like what Scotty's doing since Tiger. It's not there yet, but
yeah.
the question I have for you guys is if Scotty wins this U.S. Open, do we start hearing the rumblings of Tiger 2000? I mean, Tiger 2000 season is, considered by, I think, everyone the greatest season in the history of professional golf. 9 wins and 3 majors, 3 in a row.
Yeah.
U.S. Open, PGA, and then in 2001 he won the Masters
I get
for the
the feeling,
Tiger Slam.
Oh yeah, that's right. I think that the majors will be the biggest question here, right? Like to really get at the spirit of kind of what Tiger did, I think like you need to win out right now, U.S. and British, and I don't know if Scotty's the right man for that.
I agree.
But I do think that it's been very impressive watching his run on just your standard PGA tournaments, and obviously some of them even considered the more prestigious
signature events.
Yeah, exactly, the signature events like Memorial. So certainly, I think that Tiger's 2000 season is just going to stand in a league of its own for quite some time. But I don't think that detracts from how impressive Scheffler's being, because we really have not seen anything like it.
I was going back and looking at that Tiger 2000 season. If you go back to that's when the PGA was played in August. If you go back to the PGA of 1999, Tiger won 5 out of 6 majors.
That's
up till the 2001 Masters. That's a run we're never gonna see.
Yeah, I think like the void we've sort of been in without world number 1 that's just dominating the game for however long, 10 years, 15 years, whatever it's been. Like it forces those conversations.
Totally.
We're already talking about it. People are already talking about it, comparing him to Tiger in that way, and that's just because see it in the NBA all the time with these guys being compared to Jordan.
Yeah.
Like that's just the first person you look at.
I think also with the 24-hour sports news cycle, they just need something to talk about.
Yeah, and it's I just think it's exciting that we have a dominant player on tour. And it's exciting to see him play every week, and going in as a favorite for every tournament that he's in. We haven't been in that mindset in the game of golf in a while.
Who were those last people to do it, and how did they end up?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I hope it holds on, because we've seen a lot of rise and fall guys where this is going to be the guy who takes it. Whether it was Rory, Jordan Spieth, Justin Thomas. Colin Morikawa when he won the PGA and then the Open. We've had these guys that have, even John Rahm before he went to live. We had these guys that everyone's like, is this the guy? Mm-hmm. And this is the first time I think one of them has really been this is the one that stands up above those guys. Not above Tiger, but above the Spieth, Thomas, Rory field.
I think he's in the Rory category right now, and he's got to continue this to get above him. But I think he has it in him to do that. At this point, and who knows if there's going to be some sort of asterisk there with sort of the split leagues we have going on. I'm sure that'll be a conversation at another point if he continues this run, not playing against all of the best players on earth.
There was some news on that today, but yeah.
In the majors, at least, he is going to be against the best, and we'll have to see how that plays out this weekend. But it's going to be amazing.
I'm also really curious to see how he does at the Open in, I guess, when is the British Open this year? It's late July.
Yeah, July. And at the Olympics.
I'm just looking. Yeah, true, actually. But I'm just looking through Scheffler's wins here, and just super impressive, right? Over the past 3 years, 11 wins, but 2 at the Masters, 2 at the Phoenix Open, 2 at the Arnold Palmer Invitational, 2 at the Players. Very similar styles of course, in my opinion. Yeah. Very southern feel. And like, I'm really curious to see how he does on like a links, or we were talking about Winged Foot recently, like these wide open courses where there's a lot more that comes into play.
Yeah, I mean, Winged Foot, you get into the really narrow fair, kind of like Valhalla, where you get into the narrow fairways, but it's harder to lose golf balls. Yeah, it will be interesting. I'm very interested to see how he does this week on kind of a different type of golf course than Augusta. But the one thing you see with the Scotty Scheffler run is kind of similar to Tiger's run, where they rack up wins at certain courses. It's really horses for courses, kind of like Tiger won 8 times at Riviera, or he won a bunch at Bay Hill. He won a bunch at like certain places that just tend to suit his game. And same thing, you're seeing the same thing with Scotty Scheffler. And I think that's true with a lot of guys. Like, a lot of guys do well at certain courses.
Yeah.
But it is impressive, and we'll see what happens this week. But, boys, I am so excited for the U.S. Open, and I am officially ready to make an announcement on this podcast.
Oh, boy, here we go.
The U.S. Open is my favorite major.
Oh, my gosh.
I prefer it to the Masters. It is truly what major championship golf is about. It's about carnage. It's about the golf course absolutely bringing these guys to their knees. You're always having people complain about the setup and the USGA. I love the Masters because it is spring and it's a huge history of the game. But the U.S. Open to me is what major championship golf is about. Par is a good score. It's not a birdie fest. And these guys, it makes golf look hard.
Do you think I think this course, especially with the greens, whoever is hitting their approach shots the best is gonna win this thing, and like Scotty is set up nicely to do that. But if he does run away with it, if he's 5 under and the next closest guy is 5 strokes back at even par.
I love that. It means, like last time it was here, where Martin Keimer ran away with it.
That was insane. I think we should talk about that as well.
I was okay with it because it's just one guy went crazy and everyone else struggled.
But that's boring to watch as a
on
consumer.
Sunday, yeah.
That's fine. I don't believe the majors. It's not just about what's good to watch. It's about the history of the game. It's about proving the best player in the world. And I don't believe that. I got into this a few podcasts ago. I don't believe Valhalla did that for the PGA. I don't care how entertaining it was to watch. That's why I am so excited for Pinehurst.
So you're gonna watch it, or you're just gonna read about it
I
on
was
paper?
going to say, this sounds like you don't even
Yeah.
like watching golf.
I love watching golf.
It sounds like you just
I
want
love
to hear
watching
the
golf,
vibe
but
afterward.
I'm gonna open up the newspaper and hear about it tomorrow.
Who's going to talk about that Valhalla PGA in 5 years? Nobody.
Maybe I will.
Xander's first win.
I'll certainly be bringing it up on this podcast.
There's a
We're
reason.
still
There's a reason the guy who choked.
Hey Siri, set a reminder for 5 years.
There's a reason the guy who choked at actual major championship venue, Xander Schauffele, was able to get it over the hump at Valhalla. It's because it wasn't a major. It's like Dustin Johnson's Masters. It does not count. It has an asterisk on it. And that's why I'm so excited for Pinehurst, a course that has just produced carnage in every single time the U.S. Open's been there.
Do you think if thinking of like asterisks, this is a total tangent, but if Scotty somehow starts to eclipse Tiger, are you gonna immediately pull the card if he's not playing against the best in the world?
No,
you'll find a card. I know,
but
you
he
will.
is. He is at the majors,
Okay.
and that's what I believe matters.
So you really think that the competition is more about the course itself than the people you're playing against? Because in my opinion,
In
like
majors?
you're talking about doing an asterisk on DJ's, Masters where everyone was like 20 something under, like super, like I understand why you're saying that, but also like everyone is playing the same track here. Like he was still the best at Augusta National that year.
DJ's Masters has an asterisk, not because it was the Masters that got low, it's because it was the COVID year and it was not played in April. It was played in November at
Right, and the course conditions were completely different.
Entirely
But
different golf
the
course.
entire set of the field was playing on the same golf course, and so
And he was the best that week. Sure, I do not believe that makes him a Masters champion. He did not conquer Augusta National at the hardest point of that golf course, which is April. It is a different golf course, and we saw it in the leaderboard. He didn't just run away with it. It was everyone was low.
So
would you
you're
prefer they
not
didn't
comparing
hold it?
him to the guys he played. You're comparing him to the guys overall.
Comparing to the history of the game and what Augusta National and the Masters
So do you
means.
think like guys who won Masters or any golf tournament back in the day with woods, like actual sticks like that, are gonna be favored one way or the other because the condition was completely different? I mean,
I don't know if I really understood your question, but
they're
I
playing
think
with a ball that would explode after 3 holes or something like that.
it would the Bellatas would change the way they
Yeah.
perform.
So
But
are they a better golfer because they have worse equipment?
I don't know if they're a better golfer. I don't think they're necessarily better golfers. They're not better athletes, but that's
But they
not
played
the,
a completely
that's
different
not
game
the point.
than what we're playing at the
That's
Masters
not,
in
they're
April.
playing the same golf course. They're playing the same. It's the same test. Augusta National has been. It's shorter at points, but it's been the same test. Amen Corner has been the same. The approach to 12 with the win.
Except for all the tee boxes.
Amen Corner is Amen Corner no matter whether you're playing it in November or April
No, it's
or
not.
December
No,
or
it's not.
summer. No,
It's simply not.
It's the design. It's not.
It's not. It's
necessarily
the condition.
What about them moving all the tee boxes?
That's fine. That's to keep up with technology. That's incredibly different. You're playing the same. That shot into 12 was the same for Tom Watson or for Bobby Jones.
Slower greens.
Sure, slower greens. That's the game that was played then. Playing in November is different than when Scotty won this year. I mean, it's the outlier of all of it. You can't say it wasn't easier. You think it just magically they went lower that they all went lower that
Yeah, but
year?
I think Dustin Johnson in November was probably a harder golf course than one with greens that barely rolled back in the 60s or something.
Also, I think that the variations between golf
there
courses
should
each
have
year
asterisks.
means that like
I don't think
the
Bobby
U.S.
Jones is a
Open.
good player.
The U.S. Open isn't playing Pinehurst every year, right? So, like, are there other champions who have less of a credit to them because they played at a
I think there are US
slightly different course? Like, where is your bar for when something is
But
no
that's what
longer
the US
a win?
I think there's certain US Opens that are
Because
go
there's
down
so much
as
variance.
less-
There's some
as
people. There's
less
sometimes
good.
that there was rain all weekend. There's sometimes where it was windy. There's sometimes where
That's rub
it
of the
had been
green.
dry.
That's just rub of the green. Playing in November is not rub of the green.
Okay, got it. That's one of those things like a football move that's like definable by whoever's saying it.
But that's what the U.S. Open is to try to play. It's different golf. It's the whole. We've talked about the identity the PGA lacks. The U.S. Open has a clear identity. Par is a good score. It's supposed to be brutal, and that's what they try to get, no matter where the course is. And there's been examples like last year. I didn't like LACC at all.
Yeah, that was wild. That felt like a weird.
It didn't
play
feel like
to
the U.S.
me.
Open.
It kind of felt like they were just going there because it was LA or something
Yeah,
weird. Like
the fan atmosphere wasn't good. The course didn't feel like a U.S. Open.
Yeah.
That was not a good venue, and I think they realized that. But we're at this week just such a historic venue that has hosted so many majors, and we're getting a little off topic with like what is a major and isn't a major, and I think the 21 under at the PGA was
No,
not
yeah.
a
If you
major.
just concede the argument, then we'll keep moving.
I will not concede this argument. I have been very clear on this argument since the start of it, since episode 1. I believe there's an asterisk on Dustin's Masters.
Well, for those of you who don't know, so Pinehurst has been the U.S. Open host most recently in 1999, 2005, and 2014. The most recent one, 2014, Martin Keimer won by like a lot. It was like kind of gross. It was like watching a robot just like hit the ball over and over toward the hole.
German machine.
Yeah, totally. But of course, in 1999, famous Payne Stewart, longest putt to ever win a major, on the green at Pinehurst. Now, a lot of history goes into that one because what I want to know is this year Phil's year? Is this the year that he finally gets that grand slam? that
Absolutely
everyone's been
not.
talking
And
about?
moving on from that insane question.
Look. I have plenty to back this up. First of all, 6 runners-up in the U.S. Open. You could say it's 6 chokes.
choke jobs.
You could say it's chokes. You could say it's whatever. But those are 6 times that man was in the running to win a major.
And did.
And all
and
I'm
choke most of them away.
And all I'm saying is
like
that
the 99
you can't
U.S. Open.
And all I'm saying is that you can't dismiss him being interesting this weekend. You cannot dismiss it because he had a tied for second in the Masters last year, and he had a PGA win as the oldest player to ever win a major.
I personally very rarely find him interesting. I think his game does not suit this. His new game does not suit Pinehurst very well. In '99, it was a different golf course with rough, where his flop shots and everything were helpful. I don't believe he hits enough greens, and I don't. Around here, you want to keep the ball low around the greens.
We saw that
flop shots are not gonna be
you shared that video yesterday. That was like a little bit about.
I thought that was very interesting.
Putt wherever you can.
Yeah.
Basically, the moral of the story for Pinehurst.
Which I know
for any golf course.
Pinehurst is trying to fix that a little bit and brought the fringe a little high, made the grass a little higher, just to make it a little harder to putt. Thomas, as someone who hates putting off the green, even if it's a foot, how do you think that's going to play for people?
I mean, I just like...
That's such a pointed question.
So, yeah, the background here, I like... the ball can be on the fringe. It can be an inch off the green.
His feet can be on the green.
And I like to chip it just because I like practicing those shots more than anything. And, like, you're going to practice a ton of putts the rest of the day anyways.
You're not just trying to score?
No, because I do think that at this point I'm pretty good with my chips. And I'm just as confident in hitting.
So you don't need to practice them anymore.
A low
Yeah,
runner.
you should just putt it.
No,
Like
but
the
I
data
think
says you should putt
that. Yeah, sure, but
You're
I
a big
think
data guy.
I do love a little bit of analytics, but no, yeah, I love chipping around the green just because you can also
of whatever definition you choose.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, and
What if you're flopping it? Would you do that?
not off the fringe. No, if it was sitting up on the rough, maybe. But yeah, no, I here with the lightning fast greens, it's not what I'm doing. The little bump and runs are not nearly as.
You might putt it a little more. Right?
Yeah, I definitely would putt it. It was like playing at Bandon and stuff like that, where you just want to roll along the ground and keep it out of the wind. In that case, but.
Were the greens like fast abandoned when you guys were there?
They were quick, but nothing at this
It's not
level,
like
that's
the
for sure.
turtlebacks of Pinehurst.
Yeah, where it's just gonna roll right off, and that's like the most fascinating thing. It's like these greens, like they look big, but really they're like a third of the size is missing.
Yeah.
They just run right off.
Well, you get into a lot of the false fronts, false backs, where the balls are just going to run. And I thought it was interesting. We saw a lot about how that's not how they were originally designed.
Yeah.
And it's from the years of top dressing, where they top dress the green, which is, for people who don't know, courses do it once or twice a year, where they put a layer of sand down. It just keeps the grass healthy. They're good for the greens. Almost every course in America does it once or twice a year. But Pinehurst #2 had done it so many times, and these old Donald Ross courses have done it so many times, that the middle of the green starts getting higher, and they don't do it on the fringes that kind of fall off. So that's where you kind of get that turtleback green.
Oh, so it's not that good of a Donald Ross design then. Like he didn't think.
So
of
like
that.
not all of he's done like hundreds of courses,
Yeah.
but not all of his courses are like this. Some of them may be, but this is like the most notable thing. And it wasn't even something that he necessarily designed, because along with them rising, the fringe and the fairway grass cuts have come shorter.
Yeah,
so
greens,
yeah, that it used to be able to hold up on the fringe there. If you hit one short, it'd roll off a little bit and then sort of sit up. But now it'll just run yards away from the green in any direction or into a bunker. And yeah, it's a pretty interesting like history fact there on like how this course became so unbearable for a lot of golfers. And trying to land the ball perfectly in the center of the green, this tiny little landing area, because anything off of center, when you look at like the heat maps of the green, it'll just run right away to one of the corners.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is a lot of those green speeds were like when Donald Ross had this, when they hosted their first major in 1936, which was a PGA Championship, these greens were rolling at like a 5 or 6 on the stimp meter. Now they're rolling at 14, and there's just areas that you can't hold balls on anymore than you used to.
Remind me of the stimp meter. It's like you drop the ball flat or something, and how far.
So it's a little like angled stick, and however far it rolls off of it is the speed of the green. When you hold it at a certain angle. So that was one of the big things that when Ross designed it, a lot of these balls stayed in places they didn't. But you did see a lot of changes to this golf course. The difference, if you go back and watch a lot of the 99, 2005 coverage, it looks a lot different than it did in 2014, or it's going to look this year. In 2010, Bill Corr and Ben Crenshaw kind of returned the course to their kind of more original Ross design, with a lot of native area, a lot of that kind of wire grass, which is one thing I do want to bring up, and I want to prepare everyone for the broadcast. Two terms you are going to hear a lot is natural area or native area and wiregrass.
Boy.
It's going to be all over.
Boy.
The wiregrass is basically this grass that's in North Carolina that grows from like a central bulb. So if you get stuck behind it, it's impossible to get
It's like a tumbleweed, but it's fixed.
it's impossible to get a club.
Or like just a bush, but without.
You are going to hear someone's going to put a ball in the native area, and you are going to hear Brandel or somebody go, is he going to get away from the wiregrass on that? I would love an over-under on the broadcast for how often.
That would be a
So
great
since they
DraftKings
brought back all of sort of the native area, or whatever it is, and
indigenous.
the grass, or sorry, the sand basically pits running the whole length of the fairways.
No rough.
Does that mean anyone who won before that has an asterisk?
No, of course not.
Well, they had just like rough to hit out of though.
Like every U.S. Open?
They were playing in August or something, right?
No.
The PGA was moved from August. Oh, okay.
But that doesn't...
Well,
again, the PGA and the
I
U.S.
tried,
Open,
John.
their identity...
Good bit.
The PGA and the U.S. Open's identity is not this specific golf course it's at. And that's why the asterisk is on Dustin Johnson's. But...
I put one next to Tiger's.
Which one?
I don't know.
Which of the 15 do you want to put one next to?
A couple of them.
When he played it on a broken leg. I mean, that could bring us into... I guess we'll get into that a little later. But we did see some cool things out at Pinehurst. Seems like the fans are back. Last year, LACC, there were some problems where the membership bought up a ton of the tickets and just didn't show up for the event. So it looked really empty. And kind of the layout of that golf course was really hard to get fans on and kind of figure that out. So
It's like one of the most amazing things about Pinehurst, though, because when you watch like videos of it or you see overhead views, I'm like, where are fans going to go?
Yeah, it helps.
And they can do it in a heartbeat.
It helps how much property Pinehurst has. I mean,
Yeah.
they have 10 golf courses. They have a lot of room for stuff, especially for kind of a small... I mean, Pinehurst is a pretty small town in North Carolina that's able to host this.
But I mean just the grandstands in general. Like it's tree lines on most of them. It's like where are people going to sit? That was my thought, and it's amazing.
area,
It's amazing how quickly they build this thing up.
Yeah, the USGA does a really good job with it. And there's the native area right there. Yeah, you're right. We're looking at live from the U.S. Open right now. There's not a lot of room for fans. That's 4 and 5, which are two of the best holes in the golf course. Which very interestingly have switched the pars. 4 used to be a par 5, and 5 used to be a par 4 in 2014, and they switched it. Basically, the USGA has said that they believe these are both par 4.5s. So they're playing one as a 4 and one as a 5. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But those are two of the best holes in the golf course. God, it does look different.
I'm really excited for some of these tee times. Like, they did a really good job with the groupings this year, so you can follow like just 3 really good players together, or really entertaining, I should say, at least. I think some of my favorite groupings are probably Zalatoris, Fitzpatrick, and Tiger.
That's a good one.
JT, Colin, and Brooksy. And then in the afternoon, some bangers too with Bryson, Victor, and Max Homa together. Yeah. And there was one, the biggest one, of course, sorry. Rory, Xander, Scotty Scheffler. That'll be the one to watch. I was wondering, do you guys know why there's like a break in the tee times? So basically like...
They're going off 1 and 10.
They are going off 1 and 10.
So it's the crossover. It's
I see. So they gotta... Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, they usually do that. I don't think the Open does it, but the U.S. Open and the PGA do it. And most tour events do too.
Do you think it ruins it if they go off 10?
No. I mean, it would on a Sunday. It doesn't ruin it on a Thursday.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I think there was one thing we saw today with talking about grandstands and where fans are going to go, there were grandstand seats just collapsing and falling out from under people.
That's not good. That also feels like such a dumb problem to have for such a long-standing event.
Well, there were reports that, unconfirmed, I saw them on Twitter, but from some actual journalists down there, that the USGA received different screws than they thought, and they were shorter, and they just used them for
In
a lot
an
of
effort to cut costs.
I think it was an effort to the tournament was coming and they had to get these up.
Less material.
But some.
I mean, this Golf Digest article is saying cut costs. Like that's what they're speculating.
So we will be careful if you're out there. Check the seat. Don't just plop down because you might end up going right through it. But my favorite thing I've seen this week, and we've talked about how much I love Carnage, but
You've talked about how much you love Carnage.
I think you guys have said that you've made comments about
there's
my
enjoyable
love
elements
of Carnage. Wyndham Clark has said that the greens are, quote, borderline, and they're close to losing them. I don't know why our doorbell's ringing, but
Look at that.
Yeah. Just someone asking to know if we've heard about golf this week. Yep, we're good. We have.
Live show here. Wyndham Clark said the greens are borderline, they're close to losing them, and as someone who is a fan of Carnage, I could not be more excited. I hope they lose the greens. I hope we get a 2005 Shinnecock where they have to pause play in between groups to water the 7th green.
See, that seems weird, though. That's where it feels like there's something, like, differentiated going on between different players' experiences, which I'm not sure if I like.
I love watching these guys struggle. I love watching Phil in 2018 hit that putt that was moving. I love John Daly in '99 at Pinehurst saying that he might not show up in 2000 because it's a waste of time. It's so hard.
Yeah, I mean, for me, actually, like...
He did show up in 2000.
This is where we agree, actually, because, like, even though I don't really care what the ultimate score ends up being, like, it is usually a fair playing field for everyone out there, and I hate when anyone blames anything on the course or the way that things are designed, because in almost all cases, everyone is working with the same experience there.
Yeah.
They're all playing the same Pinehurst this week. And it's who's going to be lowest. It's not... You got to get to a certain number. It's play the golf course you're given, and if it's hard, good.
Yeah.
It should be.
Yeah.
It's a hard game.
Exactly.
And making it so these guys, and there's a quote, I'm currently reading Pete Dye, who's my favorite golf architect, his biography, and he has a quote in there where if no one's belly aching about my golf course, it's not hard enough. And that really hit me as somebody who does love hard golf and loves watching hard golf.
I'll bet he actually intended to put turtle greens on his design.
He's not a big turtleback green guy, but he makes
didn't do it accidentally.
He makes some hard golf courses.
Well, I heard, remind me his name again, I'm forgetting right now. Who made
Donald
Donald Ross said something like golf should be a pleasure and a penance or something like that. And
it is.
it's a similar thing. Like,
Well, they've just done penance.
I think he only actually meant one of those. Although I guess turtlebacks weren't his idea. So.
I mean, walking off of a hard golf course, and you, no matter what you shoot, and it was like, and you struggled, I still walk off enjoying it. I still want to go play golf.
I don't know
again.
about on the walk off. Maybe on the drive home, you're fine. You're okay.
I want to go play golf.
Yeah.
I want to go play.
That's a
I
good
always
time.
want to go play. Like, I still love the game. I still like enjoy playing golf.
Have you heard about we're going completely off topic, but the course in Hawaii that's the hardest ranked slope on Earth? And, like, the reason they can't keep it open is because it's, like, a one-time thing. That's partially it, where it's, like, people will come and play it, and just for, like, the thrill of playing this course that's ridiculously hard. It's, like, in the 160s.
Oh, my God.
But no one wants to replay this course. Yeah, and it's gone in and out of business. And now it's only open. The 9 holes are open as a golf academy. The front 9, and they still sort of keep that up. And the back 9 is like rarely cut, but you can still go play it.
78 rating with a 153 slope. That is a
Yeah.
hard golf course.
So
Whoa.
they've really struggled to like keep it open because of that fact that it was like a ridiculously difficult course.
Yeah.
So maybe you could go do that. You could become a
I would
member.
love that. That'd be fun. But on that, Tiger also said in his presser today that the scores will not be low. The winning score will not be low out at Pinehurst today or this week. And I
Yeah,
love
certainly not if he's
I think
playing.
he's just covering himself.
John, I knew that quote was going to show up. I knew you were going to do that. I almost didn't put it in the prep because I knew that was coming. I
Thanks for
think
teeing that up.
Tiger's going to have a great week. I do. Game looks good. It's the flattest.
Define
Game,
great.
yeah. What
I
game?
want you to put your money where your mouth is and define great
Hey,
for a
what-
second.
I said good. I said good.
What game?
Tiger's golf game.
Yeah. Where have you seen him playing?
All his practice this week.
Oh yeah.
He's hit the ball good. I think
Oh, practice. Was he stationary during most of
A
that?
First
professional golfer is good at practice.
Good.
I think the native areas are going to help him.
Oh my God! Don't start with the buzzwords already.
I think the native areas are going to help him. It is the flattest walk he's going to have for a major, even flatter than the Open. And I think that absolutely helps him this week. The weather looks very good. No cold, no rain. Helps Tiger.
They
Keeps
just
his
showed
back
rain
loose.
on.
So basically,
No,
what-
there's no reason.
so basically, all you're saying is that if he does well, there will be a huge asterisk
I think
because it's
No.
not like any of the other courses or any
It's-
of the other weather conditions.
They,
and
they,
it had to be
they were
special
showing
for
The U.S.
the
Open
weather
again,
here a second
we've
ago.
said weather's rub of the green. The U.S. Open's been here 4 times. I think it's fair to say that that's.
I'm saying I do think that it was showing rain on either Friday or Saturday.
I don't think so. I just looked today.
That's the-
I don't believe it's right.
It was right there. It was right there. On,
This is why
on
we
the
have.
television.
This is why we have
Yeah.
live from.
You actually mentioned Tim. Actually mentioned before
Yeah,
the
live from
podcast
Pinehurst.
that he
We
wanted
needed
to
up.
have the nearest updates, most live updates possible from Pinehurst. And sure enough, here's a live weather update coming to y'all. Tim thought it was going to be sunny all weekend. Saturday turns out.
At least it's another good excuse for Tiger, though.
Let's fact check Thomas before we just say that he's right. Because he's very rarely.
You're fact checking literally NBC.
Can you show me
the
on here?
National
Can you show me on
Broadcasting
here where the
Corporation.
rain is?
Can you just rewind? the
Thursday,
television?
89 and sunny. Friday, 93 and sunny. Saturday, 90 and sunny. Sunday, 90 and mostly sunny.
Sounds like a little.
Where's the rain?
Seems like a
Show me
little
the rain.
too hot for Tiger.
I'm
probably.
telling you
Show
what I'm
me the
seeing.
rain.
I know he's getting a little chippy about Tiger.
There's no
It's
rain.
fine.
But we did see someone that will not be in the field this week, which I want to talk about this a little bit because it's kind of weird he showed up. John Rahm withdrew after a weird toe injury or toe infection.
Really, we saw a lot of John Rahm's foot. Way more than I ever predicted.
Way more than I ever wanted to see, certainly. But it's kind of weird that he showed up for his press conference and withdrew right after it. I'm wondering if that's a Liv wanted him to be there to get some headlines or what it was.
Maybe he really thought that he could play through it. And to be fair, it does sound so silly. Just this little tiny cut that he didn't put Neosporin on, and then his gross foot bacteria infected it, and now he can't play. That's disgusting.
when you break it down that much, that is disgusting.
Okay, all right.
I've not gone that deep on it.
Well, apparently his PR people wanted to share all of the
They did
details.
get really detailed.
So,
I was shocked.
That's not really my fault.
Yeah, I thought that whole John Rahm situation was very weird. I didn't think he was going to play well this week, so I didn't really think it mattered. Thomas, me and you might disagree on this, but did anyone see the scripts for Jason Day's outfits this week?
So he's actually announcing the outfits that he's going to wear.
They usually
before
do.
he wears them. I didn't realize.
Players usually do that now.
Really?
Yeah, they release scripts.
That's kind of weird. He's wearing like a NASCAR jacket. On
I think
Friday.
they're the ugliest
That's
things
kinda
I've ever
fun.
seen.
I like Thursday, Sunday though. Thursday
So
and
you
Sunday look good.
The Sunday one is awful. The light blue with
Sunday's pretty gross.
the giant square.
Everyone
Or
look
the-
this up.
If it wasn't the sweatpants stuff, are those sweatpants for Saturday?
He literally looks like he's wearing lounger sweatpants
Yeah.
on Saturday.
Saturday's a rough one.
Thursday he looks basically
Thursday's fine.
completely normal.
Friday's bad.
I like the
What is
collar
the
on
NASCAR
that
jacket?
thing.
I'm telling you, you guys may not believe it, but he really is wearing like a NASCAR jacket. You'll see it.
If you go on Malbon Golf Twitter, on their Twitter, they tweeted it.
Also, awfully presumptive of him that he'll be there for Saturday and Sunday.
Again,
I mean,
I will say,
really. We'll get to our bets later. I
most
guess, guys,
players,
but-
they do script for Saturday and Sunday and release them even if they're not.
That's cute. Do you think Tiger did?
Sunday Red
God, I
will
hope
Sunday
he
Red
did.
will release something.
That's
I
embarrassing.
will still say, like, I think he's definitely had some misses, but I think he's had some good stuff. in
You've
there.
liked one of his outfits, and it was ugly.
It was not.
It was made out of
thought that
bathrobe
was,
material.
I thought that was so clean. I thought it was so clean.
God, I thought that was the worst.
It's also going to be so hot. Like they actually was like really useful that Tim was reading out the temperatures.
Oh,
for
that's
this
true. That
weekend,
jacket's gonna be
because
wild on
this
Sunday.
man is wearing what looks like a Air Force bomber jacket.
It's like
that
a bullpen
they
jacket.
wear it at like 40,000 feet because it's so cold up there.
I didn't even think of that.
That is what he's wearing.
Yeah, that's an insane outfit for that weather. I'm sure that will come off fast.
Yeah. Good luck to him.
I did love seeing the USGA did honor Grayson Murray, who passed away, who committed suicide. What was it? It was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
now?
a couple weeks ago.
Left his locker up and put up a plaque on it and really honored him. And one of his parents in the message they put out after had the message of, if you truly want to honor and be kind to one another.
Yeah.
And they have that quote on the plaque, and I think it's a great job of the USGA trying to do something just to honor him. And a lot of the players are still really struggling with that. And
Yeah, I had seen that once. He had messaged someone, like Insta DM'd someone privately who was on tour and who was kind of talking about their struggles with depression and things like that. And he was just like, "Hey, like I've been there with you. Like, let me know if you need anything." And I think he really did seem to embody that be kind to others, but also be kind to yourself. And I think that was kind of the point of last episode too. So,
yeah, totally.
be kind to one another, be kind to yourself as you get out there and play the game.
Yeah, and it's just a tragedy that he won't be here this week and is that the whole tour and his family and everyone had to go through this. But if we can take something out of it and just be a little kinder to everybody, it's a good message to take away.
That's right. And that does probably relate to what I think about your Tiger takes. So
And what I think of your Phil takes.
I'll try to ease up just a tiny bit.
Just a bit. And what I think of your Phil takes. And when we both think of every take Thomas has.
That's correct.
Oh, okay.
But on that note, boys, let's talk a little. There's been so many great U.S. Open moments, and just kind of some of your favorite U.S. Open moments.
Thomas, you want to go first?
See, the problem.
He was so stressed about this topic.
The problem with this is
He
this
has
is
40
why.
minutes to Google.
No, this is why I was like so confused by you being like, "This is the greatest tournament." This tournament could be the PGA or the U.S. Open.
No, it couldn't.
It could both.
No.
They're both the same thing.
No, they're not.
They're
That's
not the
insane.
Open and they're not the Masters.
That's crazy. That is crazy to
Like
say.
that's I have memories of Open tournaments. I have memories of the Masters. Obviously, we talked about that, but the other ones like.
My biggest golf memories are from the Masters and the U.S. Open. The U.S. Open, watching it on Sunday on Father's Day with your dad. They're like, that is some of like the
I think
core
part
memories.
of it for me is that it moves around, so that's like, I mean the Open does too, but you know it's going to be like link style and all that, so it's a little easier.
I guess
But the fact that the U.S. Open and PGA are like sort of the same thing back to back, it's like
Well, I like that they
I
used
know
to
you
not
were
be
talking
back.
about tennis earlier, and how it's not the same thing, but the U.S. Open and Australian Open like are both hard court, and it's sort of they sort of blend together for a lot of people.
Maybe it's because I'm more of like a golf course kind of architecture nerd and like love the design.
Aficionado.
Yeah,
We
like
get it, bro.
No,
That's
but
kind of a weird flex.
I wasn't trying to, but like, I think I like read, like I dive more into that aspect.
It's because he doesn't like watching the tournaments. He likes to read.
I see. That's right. It's just
I
the
love
recap.
watching
I don't
golf.
want
I also love the
entertaining
history
tournament.
of the game, and I love golf course architecture. But you didn't take the 40 minutes to find one moment you can
40 minutes.
that we've been talking.
So I actually do have a moment just of note. I mean, nobody's really gonna like it, but I remember that I was in the car with my parents for the 2013 U.S. Open at Marion, and I remember, lifelong Phil fan. I remember him walking up and literally having to chip or pitch it in, I suppose.
Yeah.
I think from 20 yards or something like that, in order to force a playoff.
Yeah.
And it was actually much better that I listened to it on the radio, because just the description, like, he's going up, he's reading the putt, he's having his caddy read the putt, he's having Bones check it out, and he hits it, the announcers are all holding their breath, and I mean, I want to say it went off the flagstick, or very close.
Very close.
Very close.
Well, there was the famous moment in that one, 13th or 14th hole was that short par 3 where Phil kind of overthought it and tried to
Yes.
put a wedge and put himself just in jail.
He totally ruined himself.
And
for
that was
tournament.
really where it's
The
not the
wheels-
only time in a
the
US
wheels
Open
came
he's
off.
done that, but that was I rewatched that. I saw that clip the other day. It was a weird play that he tried to hood the wedge, and then afterwards everyone thought he hit it wrong. And afterwards he's like, no, I tried to play it like that. It was a weird moment.
Of just overthinking.
And I think Phil tended to do that in U.S. Opens with 06.
Especially when it came to like wedges and stuff
Yeah.
like that, because he really does see
He's such an
himself as
expert.
like the wedge of
Yeah.
master, and I think that has bitten him a couple times.
Yeah, I mean, my favorite U.S. Open moment is pretty simple. It's 2008 at Torrey. Of course, I don't love, but
Is it too easy?
I think it's just too boring. It's flat.
Okay.
Great views, but I think the golf course.
It's like super easy for Tiger to walk it. Like,
well, he won it on a broken leg and a torn ACL in 08.
really?
Yeah.
Oh,
At Torrey, he won with a broken leg and a torn ACL.
it's impressive.
And making birdie on 18 to force the playoff, which we can get into in a little bit on the playoff front, but with one of the most iconic calls in golf, the expect anything different when Tiger hold the putt on 18 to force the playoff. And I have another gripe with the one of my only gripes with the USGA, honestly, is they changed the playoff format. The playoff format for the U.S. Open used to be 18 holes on Monday. And now it's a 2-hole aggregate. They did it a few years ago. I'm still not over it. I get it. They don't want to go into Monday. The TV ratings probably aren't as good. I loved the 18-hole playoff.
I agree. It was like Capital One's the match before the match.
That one in 08 actually went it took 19 holes for Rocco and Tiger to fight it out, and famously that's when Rocco showed up in a red shirt and black pants, and the announcers all day were talking about how Rocco wore the same thing as Tiger.
That is insane, actually, that Tiger had 2 stress fractures and a torn ACL.
And won the US Open.
Because I do remember him walking around using the club as a cane, but I didn't remember that was the 2008.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, no, that is crazy Open. Another one for me would be 2005 when they lost the golf course. I think that's just such a historic one for the USGA. That was just so hard. 2006, and it's one of the moments I actually felt bad for Phil. Was the double on 18 at Wingfoot.
Yeah. That's tough.
Putting it off. I mean, he got saved by the hospitality tent. It like ricocheted off back into the rough.
It's brutal.
All he needed was a par to win, bogey to force the playoff, and he doesn't make, because then on his second shot he puts it in the bunker.
Yep.
It was a disaster. But that again is a U.S. Open I love, because the winning score was Jeff Ogilvy, I think, won that at +6.
That is crazy. And it, to be fair, like, that type of double bogey, right? Like, you also can contextualize it with the highest scores, or just how high the scores were all week, where, like, this is an example of how you can get some really interesting blow-ups. And
as someone who was lucky enough to
changes.
play Wingfoot West once, I guess I played twice, but as someone who was lucky enough to play wing football, it was one trip. Someone who was lucky enough to play. I made par twice on 18, so I would have won the U.S. Open twice on 18.
That's pretty impressive.
It was
Playing
all
from the championship teams?
no. It was all I was thinking.
So we'll put an asterisk next to
Yeah, oh,
you.
that totally is.
Okay.
That's
Cool.
It was all I was thinking about walking up that whole round was I need to make bogey or better on 18.
What time of year did you play it?
Right around, it was summer, so right around when the U.S. Open
Oh,
would be.
okay.
I mean,
So at
Ruffles
least
aside.
less of
Yeah.
an asterisk.
Yeah, that's kind of the rub of the green.
It certainly would be. Think of there's some great U.S. Open memories. I mean, recently, 2018, when Brooksy won, there were those moments on that, I think it was the 14th hole, where they could not hold the green and balls would just come back to guys' feet.
I do remember last year's.
At LACC.
There you go. Yeah, I do remember last year's.
Wyndham.
That was
The drivable par 4
Yeah.
that you had to go over the trees blind to a little green that was rising up out, covered by a bunker on the left, short. That was a fun hole to really watch. I loved watching how guys attack that if they would lay up and if it was even worth it sometimes, because then you're hitting into this thin strip of green from the normal tee shot area.
Wait, sorry, just to be clear, is that your favorite memory or your only memory?
Well, again, I have memories, but I don't. I keep bringing them up, and I'm like,
bring up
you're like,
PGA.
that's probably the PGA. I'm like, yeah, okay.
We're all forgetting maybe the greatest U.S. Open memory. I guess it's not a memory, but moment of all time.
Are you talking about the 7-iron at Pebble?
No, I'm talking about Francis We Met beating Tom Ray and Harry Barton.
The greatest game ever played. The greatest movie ever
The
made.
greatest movie ever made, which Thomas has
also
refused to watch.
I have watched it. You can't just lie like that. I have
crazy.
watched
well,
it.
you've refused to accept it into your soul.
I'm not a
Your
sports
repertoire.
movie guy. I'm
I
not a
might watch
sports
it
movie
tonight.
guy.
Yep.
But that's one of the things I love about the U.S. Open is how like it is you can just go qualify. Like I love that it's actually an Open. And you can go.
You can just like go do that.
You can go you can go to
Super
your
simple. Just
It's not
go
simple,
and-
but it is open to
Yeah.
anyone, and I
Yeah.
love that about it. And that brings me
name, bro.
in. What?
Sorry, I was just saying that it's in the name.
It
It's
is in the name.
That brings me into a fan question we got, and I thought it was pretty.
Dear Back T Boys.
Came in a text to me, but it's would you rather be invited to play in the Masters,
Yeah.
or qualify for the U.S. Open?
The Masters.
Sincerely questioning from Golf World. But the Masters, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
You'd rather be invited right now to the Masters.
Yep.
If you qualified for the U.S. Open, that means you're an absolute stick.
I don't want to fucking play Pinehurst, bro.
You don't want to be.
I don't want to shoot plus whatever the hell,
John,
dude.
that means you're like a +3 handicap. You're going out there and shooting 64, like on a regular golf course.
Oh, but not at Pinehurst.
A +3.
I'm like,
Oh, sorry,
I would
yeah,
like
yeah.
not have a good time. I would like actively not
Yeah, I
have a
don't
good
know.
time
I think
playing this
everyone,
golf course.
like the.
You wouldn't have fun. You'd show up at
No.
Augusta and shoot 104.
Oh, because it's an invite as myself.
It's an invite as yourself, or yourself. You get through the qualifiers.
Or you're good enough to qualify.
Yeah.
I actually
Are
still.
you saying wait? So you're saying suddenly we're all that much better at golf, or are you saying we just got lucky 3 days in a row?
If you are able to
your
qualify
skill
for the
continue.
U.S. Open,
Yes.
you are that good of a player.
Okay, so you're consistently good. It's not just like a.
How much
you're
time did
given-
that?
You are
Put into
good
doing
enough to qualify for the U.S. Open.
Did I
or
have to-
you get an invite right now as yourself to play in the Masters.
Did I have to like give up on my job and a family and stuff to make it?
I don't.
Okay, stop that. That's crazy. I think so. Basically, the moral of the story is U.S. Open and play a competitive round, or Augusta and don't. And I still say Augusta and don't
Yeah.
because I think it's more of a unique experience.
Exactly.
And I think that I'll have much more fun doing it.
I agree,
It's
but
the
if
most
you're that good
forgettable
enough
tournament
if you're good enough
versus
to
the most memorable
if
one.
you're good enough to qualify for the U.S. Open, don't you think that you could then theoretically qualify for the USAM and make it into the Masters?
That's not what the question asks.
The question is, do you want to be good enough to qualify for the U.S. Open, or as yourself today receive an invite?
I guess, but there is also a happiness factor to it, which is like, if I go out there as my current self, who is awful, like, and go and just bat it around on Augusta, I feel like I'm gonna have a good time. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm gonna appreciate every bogey.
Don't
Like,
you think you'd
the
be happy
occasional par.
if you play in the U.S. Open, whatever, and then you come back and at 1757 can shoot 65.
Maybe, but
I think that makes me way happier.
you suffer from success.
I
is
think
all
you're
I'm
just
saying.
asking, do you want to be a +3 handicap or do you want to be...
Play Augusta twice. That's basically the question. And you get to play in the U.S. Open, which...
Play against the choice. He's saying Thursday and Friday.
Oh, we're okay,
you
yeah, we're not...
theoretically could also make a cut at the U.S. Open. So
That's
it might be
true.
4 Pinehurst.
I could make the cut
Or
at
at
the
the
Masters.
weekend. Yeah, or at the Masters, yeah.
I don't think
That's so
10
true.
handicap Thomas is
I think you just need a
I
couple...
don't know, bro. All we need to do is play in November.
Well,
Super, you guys super
If you play in November and they play in April, you might have a
There we
chance.
go.
You just
There we
string together a couple good days. You never know what can happen.
I stand on the U.S. Open. I think qualifying on your
You
own
just want a
merit.
cheat code to get better at golf.
No, I think
though.
qualifying on your own merit means more than just getting a random invite.
Okay, if it was side by side, you qualified through the whatever USAM to
qualify
make.
both ways. Would I rather play in the U.S. Open or the Masters?
Yeah.
I'd rather play in the Masters.
Okay,
Okay, that's
I
fair
think
enough.
that simplifies it a little bit.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, I think those. Yeah, I think the question
I hear
and
you.
what the viewer told me was the,
Yeah,
would
you
you
need a
rather
little.
be?
You need a little more oomph on the U.S. Open, and that tells you it's standing. Why it shouldn't be your favorite golf tournament.
It's more fun to watch, but that doesn't mean I'd rather play Pinehurst than play Augusta National. Those are two very different questions.
Yeah.
In
But-
any case, I'm excited for.
We will
picks
we will
for
see a
sure.
great tournament down in Pinehurst, North Carolina. And if you would like to get some golf streetwear with a North Carolina license plate that says golf, you can. It's at State of Mind Golf. They make awesome golf streetwear with the state license plate.
Yeah, North Carolina was first in flight.
I think it says it would say it if you
Yeehaw.
got the State of
First
Mind.
in flight golf is what it would say.
It would say if you got the license, if you got the State of Mind gear, hoodies, crew necks, t-shirts, long sleeves, awesome stuff. Go check it out. Use code BACKTBoys at checkout for I think it's 15% off, and get some cool golf streetwear because there isn't enough of it, and it'll be perfect to sit and watch the U.S. Open in or the Open in a few weeks.
Yeah.
But go check it out. It's awesome stuff. Boys, it is time as always
Here
to
we
get into our picks for the U.S. Open. Thomas, you are forbidden by vote, by democracy, from taking Scotty Scheffler.
I was kind of hoping you guys forgot.
Oh,
Okay.
I will never forget that. Because it is a major, we are adding a bet. So it's your typical favorite, underdog, top 10, any other bet. And then there aren't odds for this, but I want you to give me a guy who would be a favorite who you think has zero chance of winning.
Well, I'll also be giving you two people who I think
you gonna
are
say
gonna miss
Tiger?
the cut. Oh, sorry, three people.
One of those top guys who you think has no chance of winning. I am going to start this off with the fourth back tee boy. I texted Kenny today to get his picks. I do not have his
New
who
one?
will not win. But for Kenny's favorite, he is taking Oberg. He said he really wants him to be the next big thing. I think he has a major in the near future.
He
Maybe
does.
this is the breakthrough.
I think that's legit.
His underdog at plus 15,000.
Oof.
Justin Rose
Okay. Ooh.
thinks this tournament comes down to composure, and Justin Rose has been there before. Top 10, he's taking Jordan Spieth,
Ooh.
who he says short game, short game, short game. This year his short game has not been great, according to according to
More like bald
Golf
game,
Dad.
bald game,
He's been hitting
bald.
great drives. And his any other bet, he has created a live to miss the cut bet with Hatton, DJ, and Sergio, all to miss the cut.
They definitely live to miss the cut.
They live to
That's
miss the
like
cut.
their, yeah. That's their thing.
So Thomas usually starts, but Johnny, why don't you start us off here?
This is a lot of pressure. Yeah, I'm gonna start with my favorite, and one of these days I'm totally gonna get it right. It's Victor for sure to win. It's just because, again, he just hasn't strung together those 4 rounds yet. He just hasn't done it, and you know what? He's got the dedication to potentially put something together here. So plus 2,000, I still think it's an interesting bet. We're talking, what's next? Underdog?
Yeah.
Underdog. So I think that anytime someone offers you plus 35,000 on anything, you take that bet. You put down $5 just to see what happens. And you know what? I want Phil Mickelson to win his Grand Slam, so I'm going to say Phil Mickelson, underdog, my guy, doing well this weekend. My real bet, actually, Adam Hadwin. I actually think he's been doing pretty well recently.
Hopefully he doesn't get tackled by a security guard.
Hopefully he doesn't get tackled this time. But at plus 15,000, I think he's actually kind of a steal to just put down some couple bucks to see if he can pull through. What's next? Top 5?
Top 10.
Top 10. Easy. You know what? I think this is a tough one here. You know what? I think Patrick Cantlay might be back in it this time, and I'll tell you why. He's just like, I feel like he has been so under the radar and like been outgunned by some of these like super long distance guys who are like putting it on the green into every single time, that kind of thing. He has a grinded out style of golf that I actually think works really well in a place where like just having distance isn't going to seal you the game. So I'm excited to see what he can do. Plus 450 for his top 10 right now. Other bet, to miss the cut, and I kind of wanted to parlay this, but I couldn't figure out who I wanted to put it with. But in my opinion, Bryson's missing the cut here. He's currently one of the favorites to win. He's done a lot of great work recently. But I just don't think, and similar reason for the Cantlay pick, like I just don't think he has it. He has the same advantage over the field as he usually does, and I just don't know if his short game is quite there with the way that these greens are.
And the top guy you think has a 0 chance of winning?
0 chance of winning? It's a great question. There's a lot of people on this list. If I had to guess, I would say probably, oh God, this is gonna hurt. Rory. I think Rory does not have a chance in hell of winning this tournament, and it's funny enough, it's for the same reason that I am trying to give an excuse for Victor, which is that he hasn't strung together 4 rounds, but Rory has not strung together 4 rounds, and he's also still kind of a head case, and I just don't think that he goes out there and does anything special this weekend, especially at those odds.
Fair enough. I think I'm going to go next.
Yeah, do it.
We'll round it out with Thomas. The 2 guys that hit bets go first, and then Thomas goes last. It's like honors.
It's like honors. I won 2 weeks ago, so.
It's like honors on a tee box.
Whatever. I beat you guys.
John, I couldn't hate your Bryson missing the cut more.
Wow.
I have been taking...
Put some money behind it.
I am taking Bryson DeChambeau to win the United States Open. At plus 2,000, I think he's been sniffing around majors this year too much to not eventually pick one off. I mean, top 10.
You really by the way, did a full 180.
I still don't like him.
Like the narrative has totally shifted.
I still do.
For you.
The PGA did a lot to help Bryson's image. I still do not like Bryson DeChambeau. I just think he's going to win. I think if you're around the top of the leaderboard and one of the best players in the world, like he is, eventually it's going to be your turn. Top 10 at the Masters, tied or second at the PGA. I just think eventually it's going to be his turn. He's putting the ball great. His approach shots are unbelievable right now, which is huge. Is going to be huge at Pinehurst. So I'm taking Bryson DeChambeau plus 2,000 to win. I hope I'm wrong. My underdog, and I did a lot of research today on data golf and strokes gained to get my underdog pick, and I am taking a guy who strokes gained approach is top 10 in the PGA Tour this year. I'm taking Sepp Straka to win the United States Open Championship at plus 7,500. Great ball striker. I'm taking Sepp to win. I'm taking another great ball striker to top 10. A lot of my bets this week revolve around ball strikers.
Ball striking.
Thigala to top 10.
Okay.
He's been playing great this year. I'm taking him top 10. This course is kind of made for him. It's ball striker's paradise.
He's been a pretty good putter too.
Yeah,
right? Like,
and he can roll the rock, which is obviously important around this place. But really, those approach shots are what are gonna matter. My any other bet? I'm gonna do a little parlay here. I'm getting interested. I'm doing a make cut, miscut parlay, 2 and 2. I am taking, and this one hurts me. I'm taking Justin Thomas to miss the cut. I'm taking Phil Mickelson to miss the cut.
Why? That's first of all, that doesn't even help your odds, probably. that's literally just a spite.
No, because he's going to. And then I am taking another guy who's very high in ball striking, Mackenzie Hughes, to make the cut. I think top 15 or top 18 in strokes gained approach this year. And I'm taking Tiger Woods to make the cut.
Okay. You saved the breaker of your parlay for last.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
I
No,
always hit 3 or 4.
I gave
Always
you
miss
the
one leg.
guarantee. They're all guarantees. It's a lock. So
all right.
not worried about it. And then you took my who has no chance of winning this week. I was going to take Rory.
We all were going to take Rory.
Yeah, but I'm taking Xander Schauffele. I think he has no chance of winning. I think
Little tiny Xander Schauffele with his little tiny like disgusted face all the time.
at the U.S. Open, that like
Little tiny Xander can't get it up onto the green. I'll bet he can. I'll bet he comes out and really just annoys the shit out
he
of
finally
him.
checked that major box, and he's done. We won't see anything from Xander. Yeah, I think he's got no chance. I thought about taking him and missed the cut. I'm not gonna lie. Thomas,
I'll start with that. You guys took both the guys that I was eyeing because it doesn't really matter who I pick, I guess, because Scotty's going to win. Can't take it. But I'll take Victor Hovland. No chance of winning.
Whoa!
I
You
thought
started
about it.
with the. I thought you were with me. I thought you were with me.
I thought about it.
No chance. Like your sort of Bryson pick, I'm going to go with Morikawa
Been sniffing around it.
for the win if I can't take Scotty. So
He has to clarify.
yeah, he's been around in all these majors, so I think he might be able to break through on this one. In terms of an underdog, it was 6,500, right?
Yeah,
I'm gonna go with Shane Lowry.
love it.
Great golf, can shoot. I mean, what he had that asterisk of a
Drop
lowest round of the PGA. But yeah, I
He
think
have
he
the
can.
lowest round. There's no asterisk on it being the lowest round.
Okay, that's the
crazy.
one we're
We'll
gonna
talk about
leave.
your
Yeah,
asterisks
yeah.
next episode.
I'll take Shane Lowry as my underdog plus 8K for a top 10. You want to talk about locks? Cam Smith, the top 10, coming over, one of the best putters on earth.
I'm so stoked for when I never have to see him again because he's already falling off the radar.
I
It's great.
think he's got no chance this week.
Cannot
I mean,
wait.
what
Ball
he's
striker.
been in
That's
he's been in
crazy.
both majors this year.
Has
he
he?
was top 10 in the majors.
Talk about not being rememberable. Like, my God.
Yeah.
If he hadn't played in either of them, I think I would have seen him the exact same
He
amount of times.
literally looks like he's transporting like fleas on his back for the Black Plague in middle.
I was gonna say it looks like he's bringing fentanyl.
Oh my god. Okay, so we don't you
I
guys
kinda
don't
like
like
Cam
Cam Smith. I love Cam Smith. I think he's great. Top 10 for him. Other bet, I'm just gonna go against both of you guys who like the old men. Missed the cut, Mickelson and Tiger. Not a chance.
Again, we talked about how we both hate Thomas.
Yeah, that's
takes,
fine. That's a
so
little okay.
be kind.
I think that's all I got, right? I already did my my guy who's not going to win it. So
You did.
yeah, that's it. Everyone put money on Scotty to win though. Plus
Oh,
300.
that's so boring. Ugh.
Plus 300 free money.
God, I don't want to see him win. And I like Scotty, and I don't want to see him win.
I'm gonna start pulling money out of my bank account for that one.
Yeah, do it. Do it. That will go well. So I was begging for money because he put too much on
Yeah,
the one
Tim, I
major.
can't cover
Does
rent.
anyone have, before we sign off here, do we have a geolocation on Officer Gillis, and is he anywhere near Pinehurst, North Carolina?
Well, Rory is, by the way, getting back together with his wife. Did you see
I
that?
did. I thought he was
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
a relationship with Amanda. What's her face?
I don't know, but supposedly
There's
the
some
divorce is off.
announcement, yeah.
Is all
Divorce
is
is
all I've
back.
seen. And I saw that through non-Twitter sources. But you know, that is just another reason why he's definitely not going to win this weekend. But in case you guys needed more reasoning.
I think Scotty's obviously got a good chance as long as Officer Gillis isn't around. Boys, before we head out, any departing words? Anything? Any words of wisdom? Any?
Oh, this time next week, guys.
No, I'm working on my driver though.
Phil Mickelson, Grand Slam champion. Can't wait.
I think I figured something out today.
Really?
We'll see if it translates from one little rain session. But
I'm ready to see it.
yeah,
But as always, check out Back to You Boys on Twitter and on Instagram. Check out the YouTube channel. You can watch the video version of this podcast. State of Mind Golf and Pin Golf. Go check them out. Use code Back to You Boys or Back to You Boys Pod at checkout. And remember to be kind to one another and always play it back.